everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, Justice League of America, JLA, Plastic Man. This is the newest Build-A-Figure. I went to Target today and found the entire wave. Well, sort of. I have the Platinum version of Superman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern, and the regular version of Batman. There is no Platinum of his. They didn't have any of the regular figures, which is really, really weird, but I have those on the way from the McFarlane toy store. But on the bright side, I can still build Plastic Man. I have all 4 of the figures and all the pieces. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at Plastic Man, we'll get him assembled, we'll check out his accessories, height and articulation, and a bunch of other stuff. So here's the front of all the figures in this wave, and here's the back of each of the figures from the wave. They all show Plastic Man. So with no further ado, let's open them up and put Plastic Man together. Alright, now that these figures out of the package, here they are with all their Plastic Man pieces. Superman comes with Plastic Man's torso, Batman, a couple heads and stretchy arms, Aquaman, some regular arms, and John Stewart, his legs. So, let's put Plastic Man together. So here's a look at the first figure. This is the red version of Superman. He comes with Plastic Man's torso. And then here's the second figure. This is Batman. This is Batman from the 3 Joker storyline, repainted in black colors, sort of Keaton-esque. He comes with Plastic Man's 2 different heads and 2 different stretchy arms. At this point, Plastic Man is looking like this. And then the third figure in the wave, this is Aquaman. He has the hook for the hand, and it comes with Plastic Man's arms. At this point, Plastic Man looks like this. Definitely start to come together. I can also see the Blue Beetle torso, arms, and wrists. And then here's the fourth figure in the wave. This is John Stewart as Green Lantern, and he comes with Plastic Man's legs. And then here's Plastic Man fully put together. Another sort of B, possibly C-lister of the Justice League, but one that I've been wanting for a while. So let's take a look. He's got that smiling face, the sunglasses, he thinks he's so cool. Hair sort of off to the side. Then he has this ridiculous costume. This is the classic version of Plastic Man. Bare chest, bare legs. It's like a little onesie spandex jumpsuit with little strings holding together. I mean, that is his signature look. Although, I bet he wears pants since the New 52 moving forward. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but that's the whole point. Plastic Man is a ridiculous character and a ridiculous hero. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. It looks like Blue Beetle's torso with a completely different type of head. This one has the head and neck as one solid piece, and then some new legs. You don't get a lot of barefoot legs. Wonder if that's the same as Mr. Zsasz or the Todd McFarlane figure. One thing I didn't really mention about this guy is a problem with a lot of McFarlane figures. So you see his ankles, the piece between the feet, and his sort of shin area. It's a different color than the rest of his flesh. Same with the knees. You see a little peg sticking out, little holes. And his wrists, maybe not quite as bad as the other ones, but it's very noticeable on the knees and the ankles. It's a problem with a lot of McFarlane figures. Those pieces are made separately at the factory. This happens a lot, not just with McFarlane, but other toys. But it's really noticeable in this guy because of the bare legs. So here's Plastic Man. He comes with 2 alternate arms that are totally stretched out, and then an alternate stretched out head and neck. Before we take a look at those, let's talk about the figure. So this is Plastic Man. He's a hero, member of the Justice League of America. He's typically known as a criminal that was abandoned by his gang when exposed to some sort of chemical, and then altered him into Plastic Man. He's a hero now, sort of working toward redemption, and he uses a ton of humor. Very sarcastic, always making jokes, and to a point, he's a joke of a character. He has the ability to stretch himself, Plastic Man, very similar to Mr. Fantastic, and there's another DC hero called the Elongated Man. I'm sure McFarlane will eventually make that figure, but for now, at least you got Plastic Man, who's a little bit more of a, I don't know, well-known hero versus Elongated Man. I'd probably call Plastic Man a C-lister. That's probably the category he belongs into, but it's pretty cool to check him off the list. He's interacted with a ton of different heroes, Batman over the years, Justice League, etc. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I think that's supposed to be like a reflection on his glasses. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. If somebody can shed some light on that for me, I would appreciate it. He's got that smile, teeth exposed, kind of goofy. Really fits Plastic Man's personality. Now, one thing that does look kind of bad is that gap between his neck and his chest. It's not horrible, but it's definitely noticeable. They could have made that a little tighter. Here's the figure with all of his accessories laid out. And then here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Well, he can actually break down further than that. As you saw before, his legs were different pieces, etc., etc. But I prefer not to try to break down and build a figure once I'm put together. I've had some bad results doing that before. He has all these swappable parts, and it's pretty cool. I would say it's necessary with a Plastic Man figure. Now check out his accessories. All the swappable parts. 2 heads, and 2 sets of arms. So here's Plastic Man in his regular look. Just sort of regular guy walking around, well, in a ridiculous outfit, but this is how he would be most of the time. He's only stretched out when he's doing sort of action moves or fighting or whatever. This is how he would be if he's on the Justice League Watchtower, talking to other members, just sort of hanging out, and this is how he's going to be most of the time in my collection. And then here's Plastic Man with his stretched out pieces. 2 different arms and a different head. Now, I saw an interview with Todd McFarlane where he said, "This is how Plastic Man would be in my collection. I don't know why anyone would want a regular looking Plastic Man." Well, I would have been pissed if they only came with these stretchy parts. Sure, it looks a little bit cooler, but in reality, most of the time in the comic world, he would be normal, walking around, interacting with other people. He's only going to stretch out when he's actively doing something, whether it be saving people, fighting, or even just entertaining people. So, he's got one super long arm with super stretched out hand and fingers. He has another stretched out arm that's even longer and wraps around as holding itself. This will allow you to sort of, almost like a grapple hook, grab onto something and move around, swinging on rooftops. And then he has his head, which is twisted around, almost like a corkscrew, and then looking at you with a weird expression. His glasses seem to even be sort of changed, although I don't think that's part of him. Those are actual glasses, so they probably shouldn't look like this. Still, it's pretty cool to have different options. I wish they had even more options, but that's a story for another day. Would have been cool if the Platinum Chaser Instant Wave came with different Plastic Man attachments. That's how I would have handled it. Of course, you have the options to have Plastic Man with the regular head and the stretchy arms, as well as Plastic Man with the regular arms and the stretchy head. And you could have him with one stretchy arm, one regular arm, etc., etc. Now I want to check out the differences and reuse between Plastic Man and Blue Beetle. So, look at their heads, of course, they're completely different. And they even dug the neck out of the torso here and allowed the head and neck with one solid piece. Going further down, the torso appears to be the same. Of course, it's a little bit altered where the neck is. You can see the signature abs on the top, disconnected from the bottom. And that's my biggest problem with the Blue Beetle body. I hate how the abs are on top. It just looks so noticeable. But I think the stomach is the same piece, although the abs look a little different, but it might just be the way I have this guy posed. I don't know, the stomach I think looks a little bit different to me. The arms, they look to be exactly the same. Same hands, same ugly wrists, different diaper. And then it looks like top part of the legs is the same, bottom part is different. It doesn't have the boot sculpted line here. This is actually sculpted, not just painted. And then, of course, the feet are completely different. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. It's a little bit taller than the standard Blue Beetle figure, and I imagine most of that is in the neck. Blue Beetle is typically 7.0 or 7.1. Not a lot taller, but a little bit. And now for his articulation. And the pieces that are stretched out have less articulation, no elbow articulation. So starting with his head, of course, you're going to rotate side to side. You can look up and down about that far. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering a large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. In his torso, he's got a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso area. Legs, complete as splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. Then go forward, about that far. Put him slide a little bit more. Back, not at all. double jointed knees, and then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, toe articulation. Here's a look at Plastic Man swinging across rooftops. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Plastic Man figures. Here he is, next to the only other Plastic Man figure that I have. This is Mattel Brave and the Bold Plastic Man. He's kind of like Stretch Armstrong, totally made of rubber. He can't even stand up without the display stand. He scales up pretty close to McFarlane, considering he's from a 5-inch line. Like I said, this guy is like Stretch Armstrong, just rubbery, stretches out really far. It's actually a really cool sort of concept for a Plastic Man figure, but try to stand this guy up. Here's Plastic Man next to the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. This is where the Blue Beetle body originated. It's pretty much a generic body that can use for a ton of different characters in the DC universe. Plastic Man here shares a lot of similar parts: arms, hands, torso, maybe the stomach, most of the legs, etc. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body. Pretty much everything you see in front of you has the same torso, legs, arms, and hands. Different head, feet, and some have some different details, different boots. Deadman is about the most different on the far left. His top of his torso is altered. Now the next figure I'm aware of that is going to be used the Blue Beetle body is Mr. Zaz, and I'm sure there will be plenty of others. Now let's check him out next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is next to the rest of his wave. This is based off the JLA comics, Justice League of America, and so far I only have the Platinum Chase variants, which is not something to complain about, at least from my point of view, where I want all the figures. The wave did just ship for the McFarlane Toy Store, and I anticipate that to be all the regular versions, and then I should have the complete collection. I found these guys at Target. We have Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and John Stewart Green Lantern. Superman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern are all Platinum Chase variants, so like I said, I am not complaining. Happy to check them off my list. The other one should be a lot easier to find in the long run. And here he is, next to the most recent Batman wave. We have Azrael and his Batman armor from Night's End, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants. Then the black and gray variant of the Nightfall Batman. And then the Detective Comics number 27 Batman, both the Platinum and regular variations. Then, next to the most recent wave of Page Punchers, this is a Superman-themed wave. We have Val-Zod, the Superman of Earth 2, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants. We have the Armored Superman. Then we have the Ghost of General Zod, and both versions of Brainiac, regular and Platinum. And now, next to the digital wave, we have the DC Rebirth Batman, the Silver Age Green Lantern, and the DC Classics Aquaman. Here's Plastic Man, next to the Amazon exclusive Kilowog and Kyle Rayner Green Lantern 2-pack. And here he is, next to the Walmart exclusive Wally West Flash and DC vs. Vampires Nightwing. Then, next to the Entertainment Earth exclusive Curse of the White Knight Sketch Azrael and the Amazon exclusive Glow in the Dark Parallax Hal Jordan. And now, with the GameStop exclusive Batman from Arkham Knight in his Prestige suit and the DC Rebirth Batman Frostbite Edition. And here he is, with the Crisis on Infinite Earths wave, Collected Build Monitor. Then, next to the previous Batman wave, we have the Anne Hathaway Catwoman from The Dark Knight Rises, both Platinum and regular versions. Then the Christian Bale Batman from the Dark Knight Hong Kong Skydive theme, both the Platinum and Unmasked versions. And the Batfleck from Batman vs Superman. And finally, here he is, next to the Nightfall Nightwing and the DC Classics Superman. Now let's check him out next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale, and now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Plastic Man next to a lighter red to match his costume, and here he is next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it is a pretty cool Plastic Man figure. His interchangeable parts is a really good idea. He needs some stretchy parts, and he also has to look regular. But honestly, I want more. I want more attachments, I want more variety, I want elongated legs, etc., etc. He's done on the Blue Beetle booster body, which works some of the times it doesn't. I really hate the way the wrists look. The torso, the abs on top bother me, being so disconnected from the bottom. And then the discoloration on his ankles and knees is a big eyesore. Beyond that, he's a pretty good figure. His outfit is absolutely ridiculous. His accessories are only the different interchangeable arms and head. Sculpt and paint job, excellent, no issues there. Articulation, everything you expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Just a lot of reuse, and it works for the most part. He also has a kind of big gap between his neck and chest. Bothers me a little bit. If I had to rate this figure, it's a tough one. There are some things that hold him back. I don't really like the way his torso looks, how it's cut, etc. I want to give him a 7 out of 10. Kind of teetering toward a 6.5, but I'm going to land him at a 7. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.